welcome to the first episode of Saturday Night Ladies with me, Deej Barons.
And me, Shari Fesco.
And there's a lot of stuff happening in the SNL world over the last couple of weeks with all the changes in casts, some dreaded and expected, some completely out of left field. For the rest of the world, we're going to forget about all that. We're talking about women, we're talking about comedy, and we're just here to have a better time. How was your last couple of weeks been?
Last couple of weeks have been okay. I was at a conference on Friday when the news of Ego dropped and the SNL world was blowing up.
Yeah.
I think that this might have been the most shocking news of all of it. People are pretty torn up, and I am in that camp.
Yeah.
Very sad. I get it, but it's very, very sad.
And I did want to get the first episode up earlier. It's just that previous weekend, I had 3 days off. I was all ready to get to edit both The Hater and both Us, and then I got sick. And I did not see outside of my bedroom, except for going to the washroom, until Monday morning. So that put me kind of really behind on a lot of things. So if you listen to our preview, thank you very much. I've got us on all the major platforms. We're on Spotify, Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, and Apple Podcasts. So all the major ones are covered. I might get the little ones eventually, but we got our RSP going on there.
Excellent.
We're going to talk about these in order. Of course, it's always going to be ladies first. And so the first female cast member to depart would be Heidi Gardner. And there's been a lot of mixed reports as to, did she leave because she wanted to? Was she let go? Was it a mutual decision? But not, of course, Heidi has not confirmed any of that, which, of course, she doesn't owe any confirmation. That's up to her and her representation. But either way, it's been rather divisive in some ways, because there's so many people are saying that, why, if she was let go, why? Because it seems to be a lot of people who aren't really appreciative of Chloe Fineman.
Interesting. I didn't realize she was that divisive. That's news.
It would appear so on Reddit and Twitter, or yes, I refuse to call it X, Twitter, Blue Sky, and all that. Why is Chloe still there? I think she's still perfectly acceptable as a cast member. Not my favorite, but she's still qualified. And Heidi had been there for 8 years, so, there has come. Usually 8 seems to be, with the exception of Keenan, because he's in a class all by himself. With the exception of Keenan, 8 years seems to be kind of the more standard of time that most people spend on SNL. So I remember when Bill Hader almost thinking of leaving in the 7th season, but then he had another child, so he wanted to stay 1 more year. And then he finally made the decision to leave. And it's just all this months of complete silence. It's just all this come up finally at the last minute, but it's been a bit of an emotional roller coaster.
I agree. And if you cast your mind back to, what was it, season 47? When we had that mass exodus.
Yes.
And then at the very last minute, Chris Redd dipped out and nobody saw it coming. I feel like that is very similar to this, except that was wrapped up in the whole Keenan wife. I'm not even going there because I don't know all the facts.
Yeah.
But that caught us all, I remember John being like, we don't have time to talk about his leaving. It's so late. And
yeah,
it just caught everybody off guard. And I feel like that's what happened with Ego. And I hate to say this, Deej, I don't think we've heard the last of it. I think there's going to be at least one more whammy just before they go to air, like the weekend before.
There's going to have to be, because, again, much as I appreciate Heidi Gardner, she does a lot. She's done a lot of great things on the show, and I do wish her all the luck in the world because she's very talented. But Ego Nodum, I really thought was going to be there for a while. I really did. So that just kind of completely took me out of left field. She's absolutely gorgeous as a person and just in general. Extremely talented. She wasn't much for regular characters. She always liked to do something new. Always great at the update desk. And other part of it, with her departure, there are no women of color on the show. What I'm thinking with the show in general is still too many cast members. Way too many cast members. They don't really need to add 5 new ones. Although I do support the one new one because she's Canadian. Someone had said online that SNL right now is less diverse than it was a few years ago. You want to have a balance of people to be able to play all the parts. Well, like when in our preview episode when I mentioned that the Kerry Washington sketch, which had to keep coming in and out because she was the only woman, it's something that we need. We have Keenan, we have Bowen for some of the cultural representation. There is a new cast member I have concerns about. Ego puts a really big hole in. And it's the same kind of controversy they had years ago when Keaton put his foot down and said, I'm not doing drag anymore. Backlash they had about that by him being misquoted. It's like casting is a tricky business. Because I've done auditions for plays and musicals, and there's ones where I thought I was going to get, but I didn't. But it's not always about talent. Sometimes it's about what niche do they need to fill. Bill Hader said that if Jimmy Fallon hadn't left, he might not have been even hired because they needed to fill that kind of impressionist void, which Bill Hader provided. Or when Bobby Moynihan started late because Maya had left, they brought in Casey Wilson. It's really hard not to take casting personally sometimes. And it's not that anyone that they've auditioned is probably not qualified. It's just that one thing that confused me, though, because they happen to say that someone has to be ready to be on the show. And again, a lot of the, especially just of all the research I've done on him, I always use Bill Hader as a reference. It's like he was completely agreed. He'd only been doing improv for a year after doing a number of years as a film industry PA. And so he, as he mentioned, it was like going from kindergarten to Harvard in overnight. And so they have taken people who are a bit not as experienced and developed them before. So I'm not sure why they're not willing to do more development.
I agree. I completely agree with that. And especially, I just read something on Instagram today. 3 women of non-white persuasion auditioned, and none of them were considered. That's interesting to me. I mean, maybe they just didn't have the chops. But like you said, Deej, you learn under fire.
It could have also been maybe it could be they weren't hired because they still had Ego.
I'm really curious about her decision. She immediately posted on Instagram, which means it probably was definitely her choice. But I'm really wondering if there's got to be a reason for her to do it this last minute. Somebody made a comment that they think it's because of the lack of representation and she was feeling overburdened or like alone, which I can imagine. And also, I also feel like this Heidi Gardner thing is maybe uglier than we're even hearing. If she's not making a statement and it's been 2 weeks, that's pretty unusual. I mean, I don't remember that ever happening where they've waited that long to say anything. So I'm wondering if she's also in solidarity because they're quite close.
Yes, they are.
So I wonder if there's something, I'm not trying to start a conspiracy or anything, but I just think there's more to the story than we're ever going to get.
Well, I can very much see them working together in the future. They very much have sort of a Tina Fey, Amy Poehler dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
Not just because Ego's a person of color, it's just because she is incredibly talented. I mean, she was as part of singing one of our favorite songs, Goth Kid on Vacation.
Yes.
So at least we have that one last gift from her, because anytime I see it come up on any of my feeds, I'll always hit play.
Same here.
So for other departures, Devin Walker has departed, and that was a mutual decision. Which I can sort of see because he does very well for stand-up. He's done a number of tours over the summer. And he was underutilized, and just the way trying to get things on the air with SNL is always a challenge. And it's always more of a challenge for stand-ups as well. I was kind of expecting that in a way just because of how little he was used. What did you think of that departure?
I've always been a fan of Devin, but I absolutely thought he would be. I never am positive until the announcements are made. But he was... Yeah. They haven't given him enough screen time from the beginning. So, and he's got a very successful stand-up career. So why wouldn't he go and do something that's going to pay his bills, get him attention?
Yeah.
And I hear he's incredible. I hope he comes to Michigan, hopefully. Yeah. He travels with Longfellow, who we'll get to in a minute, with Michael Longfellow quite a bit. Yeah. I was hoping I'd get both of them, but alas. Very sad. He's a very funny guy. I loved him at the update desk. You know, did a lot of great work. I loved him. His Tim Scott, I can't remember. I can never keep track of the politicians, but the politician that he played, he did a really great job with. Yeah, Devin won't be missed, but not surprised.
One thing we were totally robbed of, though, is there was a cut for time segment for Weekend Update with Devin as Michael Che and Michael Longfellow as Colin Jost. Never been released online. It's like, please put that on YouTube. I want to see that. If you're going to let these guys go, at least give us that. I mean, you gave us him and Marcelo as the guys dressed as doctors who people thought they were the Menendez brothers. I want the secret update invitation because I feel that's probably going to be absolutely hilarious.
Oh, I bet. And everybody's talked about it.
Yeah.
It's been mentioned on several of the podcasts I listen to. So. All right. Listen to Deej out there in Cyberland. Put it up on YouTube.
If only I had that influence, believe me, there's a lot of things that wouldn't happen. Emil Joachim, another big surprise, only after 1 year. There's the people who always have to try and bring politics into it because of his ethnic background and with the trouble in between Gaza, Palestine, and Israel. They think it was politically motivated, but we can't necessarily count on that. It's just, you can never really know what Lorne Michaels is feeling or what Lorne Michaels is thinking. He can be very strategic, and yes, sometimes his decisions will completely confound us, like with Chloe Trost. Yeah, there's a lot of Lorne hate going on right now.
Yeah, but the guy's been doing this a long time, and
yeah,
he has a pretty good track record. I don't always understand it either. I was supposed to see Emil Joachim at the beginning of August. He was supposed to come to Michigan, and he canceled like very randomly. And that made me very nervous because I'm like, oh, maybe he's rethinking his tour because he's going to have more time on his hands. But I doubt he knows yet, but I bet he has a good feeling. Because again, he came out of the gate really hot. He was in a lot of sketches. And then all of a sudden, toward the end of the season, you weren't seeing him at all. And I was like, oh, yeah. I know nothing, but I feared that he was unfortunately going to be on his way out. Yeah. I really don't think a year is not enough. I wish they would give them a little more time, but I wish him the best. Again, he's a great stand-up. I'm sure he's going to have a fabulous career, but like Chloe Trost, we get to know them. We just start to get to know them, and off they go. They're taken away.
Yes, and it all again comes down to way too many casts. One of the best years, season 34. ABC had a lot of budget cuts, so their cast was down to about 12 to 14. And it was a nice even spread of what people got on. And a lot of this was, some of the process was detailed in the Saturday Night documentary that James Franco did, going over the preparation of the John Malkovich TI episode. And when you just have so many people, it's really hard to get them on. And the other part of SNL is you gotta find your writer. I'm quite sure that as much as Bill is very talented, who knows what would have happened if John Mulaney hadn't come on board, because he found his person, just like Mikey Day and Streeter Seidel with Leslie Jones, where she was on. She actually brought in a friend of her who has written for her in the past. So that's the thing. You gotta find your writing friends to help you develop and get things on.
That is completely true. And you have to be, in most cases, again, Keenan is an exception. I don't think he does as much writing as some cast members, but the cast members that get on the most, or at least get their sketches on the most, are those who can write. Because look at Mikey Day. He can write, and he found someone who can write well with him.
Bill, he said that Kristen Wiig and Fred Armisen, they can very easily write for themselves. And even the first thing that Bill wrote, he suggested for somebody else, not himself. Same thing that David Spade went through back in the day.
Yes, I was just going to mention David Spade, who was not a writer when he got on the show, and was not wanted to be a cast member, and ended up writing some pretty great sketches that he was unfortunately not in.
When Bill Hader started branching off into working for South Park, missing the various writer rooms for like Better Call Saul and working for Inside Out, is he wanted to learn how to write. Stand-up is one writing muscle. Sketches are another. Narrative, short form and long form, as another completely different muscle altogether. Especially with how quickly you have to write on SNL. A lot of people will say, like, why don't they just prep a bunch of stuff over the summer? It's like, no, sometimes you have to be in the moment.
Yes, and SNL is a mirror. They want to reflect what's going on right now.
Yes.
sometimes they'll be writing a sketch Saturday morning because of some big news that's.
Yep, exactly. Like, well, it's the same thing with cue cards. How people complain about those, and there's a reason they use cue cards, because teleprompters can break down. When you have things can be changing to like mere moments before you even get on stage. When Bill was hosting the second time, during all the rehearsals, his character was from Texas, but just before air, they changed the character being from Boston. He didn't have time to rewrite anything. He just had to sort of go with it. John Hamm, doing the first Vincent Price sketch. He was originally supposed to be on as Dean Martin, but because Lauren didn't quite feel his impression was up to stuff, they changed it to James Mason. They didn't have time to change any of the dialogue, so it was him as James Mason doing Dean Martin style jokes. So it just the way things will rapidly change is the SNL is its own little insular little universe. Now, the one that hurt the most, the one, yes, I admit, I ended up crying over, because I've been a big champion of Michael Longfellow from the start. I was really hoping to be the weekend update shake we were hoping for, and he'd get his due on there. But to find out that he was let go was a real gut punch, because as he even said himself, yes, he hadn't been on much last season, but when he was on, he was so fucking good.
Of course, we were talking about Michael Longfellow, who Deej and I are both huge fans of. I just got to see him this summer, and he was very much leaning toward the fact that he was nervous about being let go. And I feel for these kids. I mean, Lord has them, he has their futures in the palm of his hand. And I can't imagine what that feels like. He's got a great stand-up career. And I'm sure him and Devin are going to, who knows, maybe Devin and Emil are all going to band together and hit the road. But
if you have not seen it, I highly recommend it. It's a project called Ghosts of Ruin. It's a animated show. They only did 4 episodes. Of course, I guess they did go the series. It was takes place in the future, where it's an immersive video game competition, and he's one of the main villains in there on one of the opposing teams. And Michael Longfellow has done a voice for that, and his performance on that has been absolutely great. So I really do see a big future for him in voiceover, because as he mentioned, his haunting voice.
No, Yara, it's all about winning, about me winning. And I always win, because I am the fucking best.
I'm sure there's other things he can branch on to. So I really was depressed at the fact that I will not have him, potentially have him on my TV every week.
I too am lamenting. He was probably my second after Ego. Those were the two that I'm really I think we're all gonna feel this season.
Yeah.
Two, really great, talented. One very, very new. I mean, at least Ego had 7 seasons, and she really made a huge impact. And she's one of only 8 women, not to backtrack, but 8 women in 50 years. 8 women of color in 50 years.
Yeah.
I mean, that's that kind of blows me away. But I wish them both the best. And while we're talking about diversity, Deej, we lost a lot of writers that had diverse voices.
Yes.
Also very sad. I get it. They'd all been there at least 5 years, so I get it.
Celestium, who is non-binary, Rosebud Baker, who a lot of people thought would end up doing an update with Michael. And so they both had left the show that year. And it, again, seems to be their own decision. Celeste had a really good sketch voice. Rosebud, who did a lot of good stuff on Weekend Update for writing. It's a shame she never got on screen for it.
So it's Rosebud, Celeste, and of course John Higgins of the Please Don't Destroy has decided to depart as well. PDD is still together. They're just not together on SNL. And then there's a 4th writer, I believe, who left, a young man who'd been on for like 7 seasons.
Steve Castillo.
And he was another diverse voice. and wrote a lot of great sketches from what I'm remembering. But 7 years is a long time for the writing grind, like you were saying, Deej. But my point is, we're not just missing voices, diverse voices in front of the camera. We're now missing them
Also
behind
the camera, yes. And we haven't heard of any new writing hires.
Martin Herlihy and then Ben.
Martin Herlihy is staying on the writing staff. Promotion of Ben Marshall to featured player. Now, this is probably a hot take for a lot of people, but I never got into Please Don't Destroy. I tried to keep an open mind. It was the voice parody that they did was the closest I came to finding them funny. I just couldn't quite get into them.
Yeah, I don't think you're alone, Deej. I think it's a very divisive topic. People who love them really love them, and people who don't. And they really aren't the Lonely Island. They're their own.
Yes.
They're their own brand. They don't do the music thing. Very much their own thing. It's interesting that two of the three are Nepo. John Higgins' dad is Steve Higgins, who any SNL fan knows. He also is, isn't he on the Tonight Show?
Yes, he is the announcer side piece to Jimmy Fallon. Yes.
So he's a big deal, and he's been around a really long time. And Lauren puts a lot of faith in him.
I do look forward to what Ben Marshall's going to bring to the show, because at least in the performances I've seen with Please Don't Destroy was actually pretty good. Preferred Higgins over Ben, I think, but I'm willing to give him a chance. The ladies we have left are Chloe Fineman, Sarah Sherman, Ashley Padilla, and Jane Wickline. Ashley, I was totally expecting her to come back. Actually, I'm sort of half expecting her to be put in the repertory player. They could go another year with featured, but no, her first year.
It just feels like she's such a natural. It feels like she's been on longer. I agree. We'll see what happens with Jane. She's so divisive. People really, I'm like, she's just a kid. Give her a break.
Exactly. Well, there's people going on about the whole Nepo thing. She has a certain style of comedy that Lauren, I guess, wants in the show. Sarah Sherman, I still love her. I feel very much akin to Sarah Sherman's comic sensibility. Chloe Fineman, though, she is very beautiful. She's talented. She does some good impressions, but never been a favorite, but something I still appreciate. Of the ladies, the ladies there are definitely. I have some hope for Jane. I think she could probably come into her own a bit more. It just depends on. I think the biggest thing she did last year was the baby shoe, which I kind of think may have saved her for the chopping block. Not in an unfamiliar way with Gary Kroger. In the very last episode of the season, he did the Ira Needleman dating sketch, and he was actually back for the 10th season. So I think that's kind of what helped put her in. But Ashley definitely. I think she's going to be there for a while, but we have to fix the diversity.
Well, we did get these five new cast members.
Now, Tommy Brennan and Jeremy Colleen, I don't know much about, but first, of course, we're going to talk about Veronica Slowankowska, who is Canadian. Yay! She's recurring on What We Do in the Shadows. She was also in the second season of Tired, Shane Gillis's sitcom. She was in Poker Face. She has appeared in one episode of the Baroness Von Sketch Show. Before Veronica, Norm Macdonald was the last Canadian-born SNL cast member.
Wow.
And she's the first since Robin Duke, who was there from 1981 to 1984. I think she has potential. We just have to see how things... And she does stand-up as well, so we know she can write something.
And apparently she did a lot of sketch stuff on TikTok, and that's where they're looking now. So I have high hopes for her. I saw a little bit. She was featured on Fly in the Wall with Dana Carvey and David Spade. They talked about all these cast shakeups, and they showed some stuff with her, and she seems like she could be a good fit. All the guys, I didn't know, but again, so many of them were online. This College Dropout, is that what it's called? I didn't know anything about it.
Dropout is Try Guys that did this College Humor for years, which I love all their stuff. I still go back to one where they have Keith Havelsberger on there trying to figure out which one's Keith, which one's their their guy. But what they've done is they've created sort of their own little streaming service. So they have a paid online presence where they will put stuff on their paid membership service first, and then eventually release some stuff on the YouTube. And that's the same way the Try Guys went last year. So there will be some stuff coming out on the general, but anything that's premiere, there's some exclusive to their monthly service, which is like $5 a month. So that's where some of the it just mainly because of the changes to the YouTube algorithm on how people get paid. It always comes down to those algorithms that will muck everything up. The other guy, stand up, I've seen a couple of things. I'm kind of like, it could go either way. And the one that's probably going to be, I'm trying to keep an open mind with Cam Patterson. I don't want to jump to any conclusions, but with some of the, I've listened to a couple of things that he's done. It is not to my taste. I will never say anything is bad or good. I just, it's not for me.
Apparently, he's another one who's been all over the internet because of something I also am not as familiar with called Kill Tony. Not my brand of humor, but that's fine. People are jumping on him already. The outspoken, certain part of our population over here in the U.S. And they have a right to their opinion, but let's not brand the gentleman till we see him on SNL and see what he brings to the table, and give him a chance. Give all 5 of these folks a chance. I don't know a single one of them. None of them were familiar to me, but I'm happy that SNL is going to the internet because that's where they need to be going. But I also am happy that they're still getting some sketch, like live in-person sketch comics, because that's what Ashley was. So they're still finding some of them. But I think that all 5 of these new hires are mostly online presences. I know that Cam technically is doing stuff in person. There's like a live audience there and thing.
As does Veronica, and as does the guy who's not on Dropout. And Ben is, well, we know of his work, so I think he'll be just fine. But yeah, but Ego has really, as they say in England, thrown a spanner into the works with how things are going to do. I know they're kind of busy with the Emmys. This is the night where they record it. Well, this Saturday when we're recording it. So we'll just have to see how that happens there. And we still got 2 weekends before the show's on. We don't know who the host is yet. Overall, I think I wouldn't say cautiously optimistic. I'm going to say cautious about the new season. Because the people I know who are still there, I like, for the most part. And they've done, a lot of them, some I like more than the others, but they've done solid work. I'm still not happy with I'm definitely, it's going to take me a while to get over Longfellow. And it's going to be a bit of a challenge to watch, I think, just because I just don't know what to expect. And then don't get me wrong, I love James Austin Johnson. He's a kid's impersonation of Trump is dead on. My hope for the season is less political cold opens. They're going to get more variety in the cold opens. And they just have to... I'm looking forward to more Dan Beulah, more midnight matinee sorts.
Yes.
Because those I really loved last year. They were so good. And the animation stuff that Streeter and Mikey have been doing. So I would say cautious is how I feel about this upcoming season. What about you?
Deej, I could not have put it better myself. I too am cautious. Ego was my favorite cast member. Very shattered. I'm very shattered. And they need to do something about diverse representation because, as you so eloquently said, all kinds of people live in the world and all kinds of people need to be in the sketches because these sketches are supposed to present a skewered view of the world. Well, we can't present a skewered view of the world if we don't have all types of people. So hopefully on that note,
and we know Keenan is not going back in the drag.
No, and I think he's going to start being outspoken because our boy Keenan, he'll speak up for the sisters. He will speak up, and I hope that he does. And I hope that I guess Michael Che's been out there doing his Michael Che thing, stirring
Yeah.
the pot. He loves to do it.
Yeah.
But I hope that all the current cast members speak up about getting a more realistic swath of humanity into the cast. I mean, SNL's always struggled with that. So I guess only time will tell. And I'm very excited to talk about season 51 with you and to start talking about all the great women throughout the years that have made SNL what it is. So this is going to be fun.
I believe so too. Just it's going to be a challenge, but I'm up to it.
I know you are. I have 100% faith in you. Woohoo!
Yay! Somebody does. Woo! All right. I think that pretty much covers everything for now. We will be back next week covering any other happenings that may happen. Who knows? I will go on being Deej Barron.
And I'm Shari Fesco.
And have a great week. Saturday Night Ladies is a presentation of Wacky Notion Productions. If you would like to be a guest on the program, please email wackinoprods@gmail.com. Hosted by Deej Barons and Shari Fesco. Recording and editing by Deej Barons. Research by Shari Fesco. Thank you for joining us, and please like, share, and subscribe.